Happy Halloween and a blessed Samhain to everybody. I'm Phil with Wicked FX Manor. I'm the owner, founder of Wicked FX Manor. And it's a fairly new company, so I'm still trying to build up my audience, still trying to build videos up, everything like that. It's just been a hectic past couple months with Halloween. And for me, I love doing up Halloween right. So I decorate heavily. So it takes a lot of work to put all that on. So I wanted to do a live tonight. But unfortunately, because I do not have enough followers and subscribers on throughout my social media sites, I was unable to go live. So instead of that, I am recording this video for all you to watch later on at your own leisure. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the origins of Halloween, where it got started. I'm going to talk a little bit about Wicked FX Manor to start out before I talk about the origins of Halloween. And I'm going to talk about some of the products that I do have and what I plan to have in the future. So if you would, please take a moment to like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, do all that good stuff over throughout all my social media sites. Help me get up to the followers that I need. So let's get into tonight's show. So let me tell you a little bit about Wicked FX Manor. Now, I used to do internet talk radio for over 10 years. And it got a little difficult doing that, sitting here 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, and also working basically 7 days a week, about 60 hours a week, sitting in the chair, contacting guests, all that stuff. So I wanted to try something else. I tried my hand at filmmaking, which I am still currently doing a little bit of that, but I put that on the back burner because I decided that I wanted to go with something that I knew what I was talking about, and that is Halloween. I love Halloween more than anybody, I think. Um, I'd say Halloween is my Christmas. So I know Halloween. I know what scares people. I know what's good quality stuff. I know how to make stuff like props and do makeup for Halloween mask, or whether it be for the mask or for your face. So I know all that stuff. And I wanted to start a company to sell those products as well as teach you guys some things like how to make props. And I will have tutorials eventually coming up on the YouTube channel, which a link will be in the description for that. And as soon as I get those edited, I will get them out there to you, and that way you can learn how to make props for next Halloween. So, again, right now, Wicked FX Manor only has t-shirts, outerwear, shirts, all that different products, phone cases, tote bags, stickers, drinkware, and I'll leave a link for the store down in the description as well. So go over there, check out the products, purchase something if you like it. I got 20 different designs in there for you to choose from. So let's get into talking about the origins of Halloween. Alright, so not many people know about Halloween, where it got its start from. Most people think it's just something that the United States came up with. But it dates back over 2,000 years. It goes back to Ireland and the ancient Celts. So Halloween is a holiday celebrated each year on October 31st here in the United States. And of course, Halloween this year, 2024, occurred on Thursday. Now, the tradition originated with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. Now, a lot of people see that word and think it says Samhain. No, the word is pronounced Samhain. Now, it's the Celtic festival of Samhain when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. Now, in the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as the time to honor All Saints. Soon, All Saints' Day incorporated some of the traditions of Samhain. The evening before was known as All Hallows' Eve, and later Halloween. That's where it got its name from. Halloween came from All Hallows' Eve. Over time, Halloween evolved into a day of activities like trick-or-treating, carving jack-o'-lanterns, festive gathering, donning costumes, and eating treats. Now, we'll get into more about all those activities that we think just something that is fairly new to everybody. But that all goes back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. Now, what is the history of Halloween? And of course, you can see on the screen, you can pause it and read it for yourself, but I'm going to read it for you and let you hear what is said in this. Now, Halloween origins date back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, pronounced Sow-in, Samhain. The Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland and the United Kingdom and northern France, celebrated their New Year's on November 1st. Now, Samhain was and this Ablibin too, but Samhain was a time of harvest, and it was a new year on crops. They would take the old and bring in new. So this day marked the end of summer and the harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, a time of year that was often associated with human death. Celts believed that the night before the new year, the boundary between our world and the living and the dead became blurred. On the night of October 31st, they celebrated Samhain when it was believed that the ghosts of the dead returned to Earth. In addition to causing trouble and damaging crops, Celts thought the presence of the otherworldly spirits made it easier for the Druids or Celt priests to make predictions about the future. For a people entirely dependent on the volatile nature of natural world, these prophecies were an important source of comfort during the long, dark winters. To commemorate the event, Druids built huge sacred bonfires where people gathered to burn crops, animals, and sacrifice to the Celt deities. During the celebration, the Celts would wore costumes traditionally consisted of animal heads and skins and attempted to tell each other's fortune. When the celebration was over, they relit their heath fires, which they had extinguished earlier that evening from the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter. By AD 43, the Roman Empire had conquered a majority of the Celtic territory. In the course of the 400 years that they ruled the Celtic lands, two festivals of Roman origins were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. The first was I'll never pronounce that word. You can read it for yourself there on screen. a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was the day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. The symbol of Pomona is the apple, and the incorporation of this celebration into Samhain probably explains the tradition of bobbing for apples that is practiced today on Halloween. Now, of course, you can see that Halloween got a lot of its history from the ancient Celts, and the Christians took not only Samhain and turned it into Halloween, but they took other festivities such as Yule, Mabon, which is fall, Yule being Christmas time or the winter solstice, and so forth. And the Roman Catholic Church turned the ancient Celtic festivals into their holidays, basically erasing the culture of Samhain, the ancient culture of the Celts, which was Samhain for Halloween. So let's now talk about All Saints' Day. On May 13th, 609, Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Pantheon in Rome in honor of all Christian martyrs, and the Catholic Feast of All Martyrs' Day was established in the Western Church. Pope Gregory III later expanded the festival to include all saints as well as all martyrs, and moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. By the 9th century, the influence of Christianity had speared into Celtic lands, where it gradually blended with the supplanted older Celtic rites in the year 1000. The church made November 2nd All Souls' Day, a day to honor the dead, which the Celts were doing on October 31st. It is widely believed today that the church was attempting to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with a related church-sanctioned holiday, which they did. Now, All Souls Day was celebrated similarly to Samhain in big bonfires, parades, dressing up in costumes as saints, angels, and devils. All the Saints' Day celebrations were also called All Hallows or All Hallowmas from Middle English, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word, meaning All Saints' Day. And the night before it, the traditional night of Samhain in the Celtic religion began to be called All Hallows' Eve, and eventually Halloween. So how did Halloween start in America? Well, we all know it got its start in 609 with Pope Boniface. Now, the celebration of Halloween was extremely limited in colonial New England because of the rigid Protestant belief system there. Halloween was more commonly recognized in Maryland and the southern colonies, as the belief and customs different European ethnic groups and American Indians meshed. A distinctly American version of Halloween began to emerge. The first celebration included play parties, which were public events held to celebrate the harvest. Neighbors would share stories of the dead, tell each other fortunes, dance, and sing. Now, colonial Halloween festivities also featured telling of ghost stories and mischief making of all kind. By the middle of the 19th century, annual autumn festivities were common. But Halloween was not yet celebrated everywhere in the country. In the second half of the 19th century, America was flooded with new immigrants. These new immigrants, especially millions of Irish fleeing the Irish potato famine, helped to popularize the celebration of Halloween nationally. Now, so it got with the immigrants coming in from Ireland back then, they brought their ancient Celtic festival, what had been passed down to them, over to this country, and that's where America picked up Halloween. So let's get into the history of trick or treating. We're going to talk about a whole host of other things like horror films, costumes, everything else, but we're going to talk about history of trick or treating right next. So, borrowing from European traditions, Americans begin to dress up in costumes and go house to house asking for food or money, a practice that eventually became today's trick or treating tradition. Young women believed that on Halloween they could drive the name or divine the name or appearance of their future husband by doing tricks with yarn, apple paring, or mirrors. In the late 1800s, there was a move in America to mold Halloween into a holiday more about community and neighborly get togethers than about ghosts, pranks, and witchcraft. At the turn of the century, Halloween parties for both children and adults became most common way to celebrate the day. Parties focused on games, food of the season, and festive costumes. Parents were encouraged by newspapers and community leaders to take anything frightening or grotesque out of Halloween celebrations. Because of these efforts, Halloween lost most of its superstitious and religious overtones by the beginning of the 20th century. Now, it lost a lot because a lot of people see, there are some people that see Halloween or witchcraft as the work of the devil. And it's just not that. That's not the case. It started out as a harvest festival by the ancient Celts, but it got skewed over time. So by the 1920s and 30s, Halloween and Halloween had become a secular but community-centered holiday with parades and town-wide Halloween parties as the featured entertainment. Despite the efforts of many schools and community, vandalism began to plague some celebrations in many communities during this time. By the 1950s, the town leaders had successfully limited vandalism, and Halloween had evolved into a Halloween directed mainly at the young. Due to the high number of young children during the 1950s baby boom parties moved from town civic centers into the classroom or home where they could be more easily accommodated. Between 1920 and 1950, the centuries old practice of trick or treating also revived. Trick or treating was a relatively inexpensive way for an entire community to share the Halloween celebration. In theory, families could also prevent trick or treat tricks being played on them by providing the neighborhood children with small treats. Thus, a new American tradition was born, and it continues to grow. Today, Americans spend more than $1.1 billion annually on Halloween, making it the country's second largest commercial holiday after Christmas. Now, for me, Halloween gets a lot more money spent on it than Christmas. I'll tell you that now. So let's talk about Halloween movies. And some people love scares. Some people don't love scares. They don't love the scary movies. I personally love it. I was born on the day, the exact day and same year that The Exorcist originally came out. The original Exorcist came out in theaters. I was born in the morning. The movie came out in the afternoon. So, speaking of commercial success, scary Halloween movies have a long history of being box office hits. Well, they used to be. Classic Halloween movies included the Halloween franchise, based on the 1978 original film directed by John Carpenter and starring Donald Pleasance, Nick Castle, Jamie Lee Curtis, and uh, Tony Moran. In Halloween, a young boy named Michael Myers murdered his 17-year-old sister and it is committed to jail only to escape as a teen on Halloween night and seek out his old home and a new target. A direct sequel to the original Halloween was released in 2018, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Nick Castle. A sequel to that, Halloween Kills, was released in 2021, and a sequel to that, Halloween Ends, in 2022. Considered a classic horror film down to its spooky soundtrack, Halloween inspired other iconic slasher films like Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. More family-friendly Halloween movies included Hocus Pocus, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, and The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. There's a lot of horror movies out there. And of course, I want to know what you think about horror films. Do you love them? Do you not love them? Do they scare the hell out of you? Do they not scare you? What is your favorite horror movie? Please let me know down in the comments down below. I would love to know. As somebody that has a couple of short horror films out there and a couple of full feature horror film screenplays written, ready to go, as soon as I could get the funding and get them copyrighted, I will hopefully have them made. And I go back to when horror films like the original Halloween was better. It just all around more better. It built up to the scare. A lot of horror movies now, they just don't have that storytelling. They don't have that build up to the scare. They put in a lot of jump scares. And that is not the way a horror film should really be. But again, I would love to hear your thoughts on what horror films that you like, whether it be slashers, paranormal, what be. So let me know that down in the comments down below. Now, we briefly talked about All Souls Day back when we were talking about All Saints Day. And the American Halloween tradition of trick-or-treating probably dates back to the early All Souls Day parades in England. During the festivities, poor children would beg for food and families would give them pastries called soul cakes in return for their promise to pray for the family's dead relatives. The distribution of soul cakes was encouraged by the church as a way to replace the ancient practice of leaving food and wine for Roman spirits. The practice, which was referred to as going a souling, was eventually taken up by children who would visit the house in their neighborhood and be given ale, food, and money. The tradition of dressing in costume for Halloween has both European and Celtic roots. Hundreds of years ago, winter was uncertain and frightening time. Food supplies often ran low, and for many people afraid of the dark, a short day of winter were full of constant worry. On Halloween, when it was believed that ghosts came back to the earthly world, people thought they would encounter ghosts if they left their homes. To avoid being recognized by these ghosts, people would wear masks when they left their homes after dark so that the ghosts would mistake them for fellow spirits. On Halloween, to keep ghosts away from their homes, people would place bowls of food outside their homes to or to appease the ghosts and prevent them from attempting to enter. And again, that goes back to trick or treating, um, and the costume wearing and all that stuff. It all goes back to them. So let's talk about black cats and ghosts on Halloween. Where did that get its start? So, we're not going to talk about superstitions because that's more of a Friday the 13th thing than a Halloween thing. But Halloween has always been a holiday filled with mystery, magic, and superstitions. It began as a Celtic end of summer festival during which people felt especially close to deceased relatives and friends. For these friendly spirits, they set place at the dinner table, left treats on the doorstep, and alongside the road, lit candles to help loved ones find their way back to the spirit world. Today's Halloween ghosts are often depicted as more fearsome and malevolent, and our costumes and superstitions are scarier too. We avoid crossing paths with black cats, which black cats have a bad luck thing to them for a lot of beliefs with superstitions, but there are cultures that believe that they bring good luck. But people are afraid that they might bring us bad luck. Thus, the idea has its roots in the Middle Ages when people believed that witches avoided detection by turning themselves into black cats. So there's where the whole if a black cat crosses your path, you're liable to get bad luck or cursed from a witch. And people believe that, and thus the superstition that black cats are bad. Now, we try not to walk under ladders for the same reason. The superstition may have come from the ancient Egyptians who believed that triangles were sacred. It also have something to do with the fact that walking under leaning ladders tend to be fairly unsafe. And around Halloween especially, we try to avoid breaking mirrors, stepping on cracks in the road, or spilling salt. So there's a lot of superstition that goes back to the Middle Ages, ancient Europe, ancient Celt festivals, everything like that. Lastly, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Halloween matchmaking and lesser known rituals. But what about Halloween traditions and belief that today's trick or treating have forgotten all about? Many of these adolescent rituals focused on the future instead of the past and living instead of the dead. In particular, many had to do with helping young women identify their future husband and reassuring them that they would someday, with luck, by next Halloween, be married Now, in the 18th century Ireland, a matchmaking cook might bury a ring in their mashed potato on Halloween night, hoping to bring true love to the diner who found it. In Scotland, fortune telling recommended that an eligible young woman named a hazelnut for each of her suitors and then toss the nut into the fireplace. The nut that burned to ashes rather than popping or exploding, the story went, represented the girl's future husband. In some versions of the legend, the opposite was true. Now, the nut that was burned away symbolized love that would not last. Another tale had it that if a young woman ate a sugary concoction made out of walnuts, hazelnut, and nutmeg before bed on Halloween night, she would dream about her future husband. Another ritual were more competitive. At some Halloween parties, the first guest to find a burr on a chestnut hut would be the first to marry. At others, the first successful apple bobber would be the first to first down the aisle. Of course, whether we're asking for romantic advice or trying to avoid 7 years of bad luck, each one of these Halloween superstitions rely on the goodwill of the very same spirits which presence of early Celts felt so keenly. So again, a lot of Halloween traditions go back to the ancient Celts over 2,000 years ago. And again, not just Halloween, Christmas, fall, the spring equinox, all that dates back to the ancient Celts. But since we're talking about Halloween and Wicked FX Manor is all about Halloween and horror films, I wanted to talk about the origins of Halloween. Now, as somebody is a Wiccan, a witch myself, I go back to a lot of the rituals that the ancient Celts believed in back then. So, again, take your time to read everything that is posted here. Pause it if you need to. So, a little bit more about Wicked FX Manor. Again, I am in the process of editing some video. I've been so busy with Halloween and some other things that I haven't got a chance. I wanted to get them done before Halloween, but I did not get a chance to. So, as you can see in the background here, I got a skull from my Halloween display. I'm going to pull it up here and let you see it. This is a skull that I made a couple of years back. This was taken from a regular plastic, old, cheap, kind of cheap, white skull. And I turned it into something that looks like it's been dug up and it's still got meat left on the bone. And as you can see, I'll kind of turn it. It kind of looks realistic, and in the dark, it does. Or especially when it's lit just right. So, that's, again, that was something that I did a couple of years back. But, in one of the videos, I got a tutorial which I got to edit together, and I'm showing you how to do something like that. Corpse up a skull, corpse up hands, corpse up a whole skeleton. Of course, I didn't do the whole skeleton, but you can use the same premise on the skull as you can for the skeleton. And I'm showing people that don't know how to do stuff like that, make something from a regular plastic skull into something like that. I want to teach people how to do that. I'm also going to work on eventually doing a video on, and this will probably be done before Halloween. It'll probably be done in July of next year, if I, or maybe sometime early in next year, where I make a video on how to be a scare actor. As somebody that's been a scare actor over the years, worked over 20 years in the scare industry, at haunted houses, whether it be amusement parks, whether it be home haunts, doing my own. I have the experience, so I want to take my experience that I have and teach you guys how to be a scare actor if that is something that you want to do or want to learn how to do. Because it is really fun to scare the hell out of people. For like me, I've scared people. Let me give you a few examples. Working at small amusement park, I scared somebody so bad while they were waiting in line for a ride that I made them toss their phone 15 feet up in the air. I've had teenagers that thought they were all big and bad in the fetal position, laying on the ground, crying for the mommies. I even, and this one was not what I had planned for it, but this is what happened. I was working or doing my own haunted home haunt, and the night was over. I had taken off my mask. I still had some makeup on my face, but I had the costume on. Took off the mask because I knew the night was over, and I didn't want to scare any late trick or treaters. Well, a couple ladies came up the street pushing strollers with two little kids in it. I was like, okay, let me make myself seen so they know I'm not trying to scare them. Well, here's what really happened. So they were coming down the street, and again, like I said, I saw them coming. I saw them pushing the stroller. I knew there was little kids there. I think they also had a toddler. So I was like, I'm not going to scare them because the kid's a little too young to be scared, especially the ones in the stroller. Well, one of the ladies pushing the stroller saw me, even without the mask, big scary mask on, but just the makeup, the black around my eyes, blood on my beard. Of course, it wasn't gray back then, but it just frightened her to the point where she actually ran off and left her kid in the stroller and ran halfway down the street before a friend called her back and said, "Come back, he's not going to scare us." But she was willing to sacrifice her kid to somebody that wasn't trying to scare her. I, this is what I'm talking about, where I can teach you those kind of techniques, how to scare people without really trying. I can teach you makeup techniques. I didn't have a chance to load up pictures of some of the makeup work that I've done, some of the prosthetics I've put on my face, all that good stuff. But eventually I'll do tutorials on how to do certain makeup work or work with prosthetics or mask making. Eventually I'll get into those tutorials. Now, right now I do have a few prop tutorials that I have to get edited and get up on the YouTube channel, but they'll be ready so that way you can check them out and use them for next Halloween. So, thank you for watching tonight's, or watching this video and everything like that. Again, go over to all the Wicked FX social media sites You can see the name and the uh, what social media sites I have in the border of this video here. Uh, Facebook, Wicked FX Manor with the W and Wicked capitalized, FX capitalized, and M in Manor capitalized. Same with X. Um, Instagram, it's all lower cases. And then for TikTok, it's all lower cases at Wicked FX Manor. And then YouTube, it is like Facebook, but at Wicked FX Manor. You can see it right there. Search for all those sites. Again, links will be in the description. And of course, I want to know what you think of this video, what you thought about the origins of Halloween. Now, let me talk about real quick what I do have, because I do have some ideas of products that I want to get. I want to, or not get, but sell stuff like digital decorations like Wicked FX Manor sells. I might even partner with them. Hopefully, if you're watching Wicked FX Manor and want to partner with me, let me know. Send me an email at wickedwfxm-halloween@outlook.com. I would love to partner with you. Other Halloween makers, uh, silicone mask makers, all that good stuff, makeup makers. Even if you got tutorials and want to put your tutorials on my YouTube channel, send it to WFXM Halloween@outlook.com. I would love to partner with you guys and love to sell your products on my website once I get that finished too. That's another project that I've been kind of putting off with Halloween. It's getting old. It sucks, so it's less work that I can do. Um, but right now, what I do have is I have T-shirts, drinkware, as you can see there, tote bags, stickers, outerwear, hoodies, windbreakers, phone cases, iPhone and Samsung, and men's, women's, and toddler T-shirts. So a link will be in the description for the shop, what I do have, and I got 20 different designs. Again, in the future, I will have like silicone masks. I will have props that I will make, props that I will sell from wholesalers or other companies that want to sell with Wicked FX Manor. Again, I'm working on everything. It's something new to me. I've never really ran a business. I've done internet talk radio. I've worked other businesses, but I'm trying to get a business started with Wicked FX Manor, and I need your help by liking, subscribing, following, all that good stuff on all the social media sites: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. This video will be on YouTube, and I will post shorts on all the other social media sites from this video. Also, I did say I'm going to have a big announcement, or not a big announcement, but I'm going to have an announcement in this video. So let me get into that. So if you help me get followers so that way I can go live, and I know just getting followers and not posting anything, I know that's not really the thing. But I'm trying to, again, Halloween has put a damper on me to get other things done. But I want to get more out there. Um, and I will get those videos edited. I will get this one edited and up on the YouTube channel. I will get more stuff out there for you. And I will eventually get more products out there. But I also would love to talk to my followers, talk about different things, talk about different costumes, um, talk about Halloween in general. whatever it be, and get your thoughts on the holiday, whether you love it or not. Again, let me know down in the comments down below. But what I'm going to do is, for anybody that sees this video, the first 20 people that subscribe or follow me, and I will notice on each social media sites who follow me, who subscribe to me, and I will, from this point on, not anybody else, no, I can't say that. But if you do subscribe to me, the first 20 people, I'll take 5 of those people. New subscribers, let's do this. New subscribers, if you follow or subscribe to Wicked FX Manor on all the social media sites, I will take 5 of those winners and I will give 4 of them a free sticker of their choice of design from the Wicked FX Manor store. And then one lucky winner out of those 5 will get a Wicked FX Manor t-shirt of their choice, free. My cost, my treat. But you have to be a new subscriber to get that. So hurry up, go over to Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, like the video or like the content, and of course, stay spooky, my friends.